More news coming in on day one of 2024 NFL free agency. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for making our day one coverage a part of your day. We've been live at this point for almost 8 hours. So for everybody who's chosen us to hang out, we certainly appreciate that. The news I want to get to here on today's show, and this show in particular, the 49ers have given the RFA tender to Jauan Jennings. And let me simplify this, and then we'll talk about what it means. And, of course, Jauan Jennings' impact to the Niners since being a 7th-round pick back in the 2020 draft. Third and Jauan, Mr. Clutch, a great blocker, great teammate, really embodying what the Niners culture is all about. So the Niners have tendered restricted free agent Jauan Jennings at the 2nd-round level. Chase, what does that mean? Let me simplify that for you. That means that the San Francisco 49ers can match any offer that another team gives him. And if the 49ers don't match or exceed that offer for wide receiver Jauan Jennings, they'll be compensated a 2nd-round pick. To simplify that, if another team really wants Jauan Jennings, who broke out in the Super Bowl, was terrific for this team, and on the national stage, really proved to everybody what the diehard fans know, that this guy can play, this guy is really valuable, 6'3", 212, makes clutch plays, big plays, high points, 50-50 balls, is always in the right place at the right time on some of the money downs, 3rd down, 4th down, and has this innate feel for the game, but is also a tremendous blocker. That team that wants him will have to pay him a new contract and have to give San Francisco a 2nd-round pick. And the Niners put a 2nd-round tender on a 7th-round pick. That goes to show you how highly they value the player and how much they want him back as part of their plans in 2024. And if another team wants to give him a bag, the Niners are going to be compensated for that. So Jauan Jennings now is set under this RFA tender to make $4.89 million for the 2024 season. But Jauan Jennings, who is represented by power agent Drew Rosenhaus, can continue to negotiate a multi-year contract extension. So any team that signs him to an offer sheet that the Niners decide not to match must part ways with that 2nd-round draft pick. And Jauan Jennings has been a 3rd down specialist. He was just a stud and a breakout star in the Super Bowl. For him to draw that 2nd-round tender, again, kind of speaks to his value. And the Niners don't want to risk losing him. And with his agent being Drew Rosenhaus, these negotiations are going to be very interesting. He's going to want to negotiate a great deal for his client if he wants to return to the Niners, or if they get these offers elsewhere. Think about Kendrick Bourne. He signed a 3-year deal with New England up to $33 million is the max value. And Jauan Jennings is probably like, man, I'm as good, if not better, than Kendrick Bourne. He's getting all that money. Is there any way that we can negotiate a contract extension with the Niners to make a little bit more, or go somewhere else and field some offers to get some good dollars from another team? But the issue with that other team paying Jauan Jennings is that they have to pay him and give up premium draft capital of a 2nd-round pick. Now, you look at Jennings' numbers in his first 3 years in the NFL, and he was that 7th-round pick back in the 2020 NFL draft. He didn't play in 2020, but in 2021 starts to emerge with Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback as a go-to option during some of the big moments of the game. 38 targets, 24 catches, 282 yards, but a career high 5 touchdowns that year. Again, an innate way to be in the right place, right time. 2022, last year, 56 targets, 35 catches, 416 yards, and a touchdown. And then this past year, his numbers go down, his targets go down because Brandon Ayuk had a career year. He had more than 1,000 receiving yards. Deebo Samuel had more than 1,000 all-purpose yards. George Kittle had more than 1,000 receiving yards. Christian McCaffrey had more than 2,000 all-purpose yards. So naturally, Jennings' numbers suffer a little bit. 33 targets, 19 catches, 265 yards, and 1 touchdown. But made some huge plays in the NFL playoffs and some of those comeback efforts against the Packers especially. And then in the Super Bowl, was he the best Niners wide receiver in that game against Kansas City? I thought he was just so good. And you look at his postseason numbers, and specifically in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, where he was just making clutch plays. 4 catches, 42 yards, and that touchdown, which was huge. Also threw the touchdown to Christian McCaffrey on that trick play. So I would imagine that Jauan Jennings is back with the Niners just under $5 million. And if it is that number of under $5 million, if they can't come to an agreement on that contract extension, very good value for San Francisco with your wide receiver 3. Now today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America and the largest independently run daily fantasy sports app in North America, and the best deal that any DFS app has to offer. $100 deposit match, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. You pick 2 or more players. You choose more or less on their projected stat lines, and you're guaranteed to win big-time money. Luka Doncic, let's go more than 33.5 points against the Chicago Bulls tonight. He's been on that insane 30-plus point triple-double streak. Cade Cunningham, more than 24.5 points against the Charlotte Hornets. And Devin Vassell, more than 10 combined rebounds and assists. Win big money, withdraw your winnings, and now that basketball season is really heating up with the NBA playoffs and tournament time at the college level, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Let's discuss all of the moves that the 49ers have made so far this offseason. On Friday, they signed Colton McKivitz to a 1-year, $7 million contract extension. And I know I was pretty fired up during that show. I'm fired up if the Niners' plans are to have Colton McKivitz as their starting right tackle moving forward, because when he went up against elite edge rushers in this league, he got exposed. 47 pressures allowed, 4 hits, 9 sacks, 2 penalties on 573 pass blocking snaps. He had a pass blocking grade of 56.4, overall grade of 65.1. Run blocking grade of 68.1. And then in the playoffs, against premium competition, 12 pressures given up on 123 pass blocking snaps. That is not good enough play if he is your starting right tackle. If he plays swing tackle, meaning he's a backup and can fill in right tackle, left tackle, and play the guard spots as a backup and center, I'm okay with it. If he moves inside to right guard, I can see you maybe convincing me that that could be okay if you draft the tackle in a offensive lineman deep class to be your right tackle. A Graham Barton, a Kingsley Suamataia, one of these other really good tackles in the draft. Another move that the Niners made, signing Brandon Allen to a 1-year contract. Brandon Allen and Brock Purdy are now the only quarterbacks on the Niners roster under contract. And can they afford to pay a lot of money to a backup quarterback when they're having to cut salaries elsewhere? Eric Armstead, expected to be released. Kyle Juszczyk, they're trying to work with him on a restructured deal. Brandon Allen, I think realistically, might be QB2 behind Purdy. Very well respected by Kyle Shanahan. And in that quarterback room, he used to be the backup for Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals. He has starting and playing experience. Keep an eye out for that. Leonard Floyd, this is the big splash that the Niners made. 2-year, $20 million deal, $12 million in guaranteed money. What stands out to me is value for Leonard Floyd. You're getting a player who in each of the last 4 years is one of 3 players to have 9+ sacks. He joins Myles Garrett and Hassan Reddick in doing that. Those are some of the best edge rushers in the game. And Leonard Floyd has also consistently been available. He has played in 108 straight games. A little bit better against the run, 6'5", 240. $10 million for 10 sacks per year is great value. And then the Niners, as we just discussed, signing Jauan Jennings, at least giving him that RFA tender. At the very least, if he comes back to the Niners, it's going to be 1 year, singular, not plural. I studied journalism at Temple. Come on now, Chase. At just under $5 million. If another team signs him to an extension, they have to sign him to that deal and then give up a second-round pick. This is why you subscribe to the 49ers Report. We've been live all day here on the show since 10 a.m. Central, and we've talked about every single move that the Niners have made. Lock us in, hit that sub button.